Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Pop Culture Edition. Welcome. If you are here and you are not our parents, please feel free to share our show. They do it every week now, pretty much. And we're so thankful. But everyone else can participate as well. And
Keep sharing to your 20 followers, Dad.
Yeah. Sharing, liking, rating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Subscribing.
Yeah.
Downloading. Whatever the hell.
Yeah. I'm back at home. We are never recording at our parents' house again. No offense. But we did get some good bloopers. So there is a bonus episode up on YouTube, about 6 minutes of bloopers of our parents ruining our recording.
Disturbing the peace.
And their pets.
Mm-hmm.
There's also just some silly moments of like me being scared of Appalachian creatures.
Oh.
Katie refusing to
participate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did not give you a task for our true crime episode next week.
Just for fun. But yeah. Hopefully you're liking the new setup. Our mom texted us and said that somebody she knows listens to us, and they said like, oh yeah, they come out every Tuesday and Friday, and I said, oh.
So hello, and we're sorry to you, friend, but welcome.
Yeah, grad school and Katie becoming a doctor apparently is kicking our butts.
Yeah, not a doctor, but yeah, we're protecting our energy right now, friends.
Yes, but if you like and share and rate and subscribe, then maybe we can do it more.
We can start getting paid.
If it's worth it, but if it becomes worth our while.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to start by posing a question to you. What is your opinion on Rodent boyfriend Summer?
The only one I've seen that is intriguing is Jeremy Allen White.
Yes,
beyond that, I'm out. And I did see Paige and Hannah Berner.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Were like, but also for real though, like, what is this standard that like men have these like trends?
Yes,
that are like based on them being.
We ugly? Can rebrand ugly men,
right? And it's like, listen, as two women who are like about the dad bod, like the dad bod was a whole thing that everyone's like, oh no, that's the desired thing. Nobody's out there being like, that's like, come on, women get gray hair, they get a little chunky, and they're like thrown away.
And I would say, like, I would argue also that when a like undesirable trait is like wanted in a woman, it's still like male centered, like the trend of it, like calling men chubby chasers. Like, it's all the language is centered around men. And like I don't like, I want.
It's all about like something to hold on to.
Yeah.
And like no one's out here. I'm trying to think of like a rodent equivalent to like
horse girls
being a chunky woman, like. But imagine though if they were like
rodent capybara.
No, but imagine if they were like hippo girl Summer.
Yeah.
Hippo girlfriends, or we'd be like,
we're like, we get hot girl Summer, and if you're not a hot girl, you can't participate.
Yeah.
And they get to be rodent boyfriends.
And like, we're doing that following Torture Poets Department. I have questions.
Yeah.
Did we learn nothing?
I personally though, like, I think Jeremy Allen White is attractive. There was another. Oh, Timothy Chalamet is included. I like him. There's someone else that I was like, no. But I'm shocked by the inclusion of Tom Holland in this narrative. I think that Tom Holland is very, like, conventionally attractive. I don't think he looks like a rodent.
Yeah, I don't think he has the same, like, unkemptness as some of the others, but I think he has the same, like, small featured.
I saw someone say this, and like that's how I picture it in my brain, is like the rodent boyfriends that they're talking all looked like the rat from Flushed Away, or the mouse from Flushed Away.
Okay.
And like, I'm like, yes, Tom Holland doesn't look like a rat, in my opinion. But whatever. Moving into real business, I guess. Rodent boyfriends are on trend though. And we'll come back to rodent boyfriends. Do not fret. Unfortunately. Are you ready to dive in to everything else? Okay. Rachel from the most recent season of The Bachelor posted a TikTok with John Henry.
So cute.
They're like out at dinner. I'm actually like kind of into it. Like I actually really like John Henry, and I typically don't expect to love a man with a double name. But I really like John Henry, and I really like Rachel, so it was cute.
I think he's so interesting. We've been very conditioned, A, like on The Bachelor, but B, in our regular lives, to be weary of Southern men.
Yeah.
And he's like so precious and like very like himself, and like does very like individual things, and like I don't know. Yeah, he's sweet boy.
I like him. Yeah. There's some drama brewing between Billie Lee and Kyle Chan and Sandoval's new girlfriend Victoria. So, biggest takeaway, Billie Lee and Tom are not friends anymore.
Yeah, I keep seeing things that are like, Tom Sandoval makes a statement about, Victoria Lee Robinson makes a statement about, and like, how do we tell them that this is like not interesting? Like, we don't need a statement. But apparently Mary's gonna explain it to you anyway.
Yeah, well, because I was like, I don't really understand. I don't know, like, I don't understand why they're fighting, like, why this matters. And then like Victoria and Kyle Chan did like an Amazon Live to like address like Billie Lee's lies and like all this stuff, and like Billie Lee,
she did accuse her of stalking.
Yeah, Billie Lee like came back and was like, she said like the Victoria made a statement, like she typed it on her story because it's so hard to talk to her because she slurs her words so much. I was like, okay. But basically, Billie Lee said the Victoria insisted that Sandoval move into the master bedroom and told him he needed to just move Ariana's things out. In that story post Victoria made, she was like, I would never like tell someone to touch someone else's things without their permission. I would never touch someone's things without their permission. That just didn't happen. Billie Lee also said that at times when Victoria wasn't supposed to be at the house, she would like stake out the house, like sit outside and watch Tom. And then at one time, she busted into the home to see if Tom and Billie Lee were sleeping together. And lastly, Billie Lee kind of tries to like round this all out with like, I would be his friend because I'm concerned about him, but like his behavior is like pushing me away. So she says that she's worried about Sandoval and his journey with sobriety because he's missed a lot of meetings recently, and when people like ask him why he hasn't come, he's like, oh, I just don't feel good. And she's like, he doesn't feel good every single day. And then she says that she tried to stage an intervention for him, but he didn't show up.
Yeah. So I think she was trying to like say that like in a way like Victoria is like the reason he's drinking again, and it's like that may be true, but like Tom never told us he would be sober forever, and like he never said that he had like a problem with alcohol, although he has said like I was a functioning alcoholic. Like he is saying like at that time in my life. So I don't know that I necessarily think that like just the fact that he is drinking again is the problem. I think she's just saying like this this is a person who has like made his entire personality about like being successful and like
Right.
doing these things. And so if you're not even showing up, like,
Right.
what does that mean?
I
think she also mentioned something else about a possible like mental health concern with all of this, which of course can come just from substance use, but
yeah, and I think like I wonder if it's kind of like one of those things like because here's the thing, when he like on the show introduced his sobriety, he was like very clear that it was for Rachel. It was with the
and
intention
then he was
of
like, then I just kind of kept doing it,
right, like it was with the intention of like, she has to be sober, I will also be sober. But I kind of wonder if it's almost like when Sheena and Shay, like when Shay like first came clean about his addiction, and Sheena was like, well, you can go out and drink socially without getting drunk, and like that doesn't match my lifestyle. If it's like kind of one of those things that like, and like obviously not to the same degree because Shay did have like a serious addiction, but like I wonder if for Sandoval he's like, oh well, like she's gonna be drinking,
young,
like she's going
like 25
out, she's hanging out with Schwartz's 24-year-old girlfriend, and so like I'll just drink with her, and like it's hard to keep up, I imagine, with 25-year-olds when you are 40 and like have serious business to attend to. That like if and she, not that she doesn't have a like serious business to attend to, but like she's a model, like I think her schedule is probably a little more free than like someone who owns several businesses. And so I think that like knowing Sandoval and how much he will like commit to the bit, like I'm sure he's doing whatever she wants him to do and like following her everywhere, and then he doesn't feel good in the morning because he's 40. His brain is 17, but his body is 40.
And I think Billie, she was saying that like all of this to say that like their relationship is incredibly toxic. So she says that they have these like knockdown dragouts, like huge screaming fights all the time that she used to have to like get in the middle of. And so I think that like it's all like linked together, that like she thinks this is like very bad for him and probably continues the cycle of him drinking. And the way she made it sound, it's other things outside of drinking. But yeah, it's hard, dude, because it's like, I think Victoria's shady as fuck. I think like you take your ass home, coming on Watch What Happens Live and acting like you've never watched this show. Like everyone thinks that's the coolest thing now, is to say, I got a partner and they don't watch the show. You're fucking lying. She knows. Like, that's annoying. I think she could totally be nuts. I think that that's like very possible. However, like, raise your hand if you're inclined to believe Billie Lee.
Right.
No,
and
like Billie Lee wants to be relevant so bad that it's like not crazy to think like she's just pulling shit out of her ass because it'll go well on the podcast and it'll get people talking about her.
Yeah, and in I'm very close to the camera. Sorry. I said I just got very close to the camera. In the story Victoria posted, she kind of like said like, I have like the utmost respect for Ariana, like especially given the situation, or like something like that, that to me like indicated that like she's like, and again don't know if that's genuine, but like indicating that she's kind of trying to say like, I'm going to be gentle with this because my boyfriend ruined her life a little bit. But yeah, yes, also in like Vanderpump World, we got the season finale of The Valley, no reunion, but basically like we get to the end, Janet is like full Lala. She's like, you can't talk to me because I'm pregnant. Like,
okay, but like the way he was talking to her while she's pregnant was a little okay. I understand we all apparently don't like Janet
touching her.
I don't care. She was like very pregnant, screaming like, get the fuck out of my face to someone who is like 35 plus weeks pregnant. Like, that's stress is not good for her. So like, okay, I get it, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, when we were sitting there watching that, Billie said, I would have literally killed him. I would have punched him in the face and killed his ass if he was talking to you like that. And it's like, I think Jason, I don't know. I think that was nuts. I get why Janet and Lala are compared. That's fine with me.
I disagree because I don't like Janet, and I don't care if
cool.
someone yells at her.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't like I don't care for Janet either. I'm just saying, like, I think it's a little absurd.
Yeah.
To scream at someone who is that pregnant, like, that just seems a little rude to me.
I think that it's like in the wake of Lala at the reunion.
Yes.
And like this like weaponizing of motherhood. Like,
yes.
It
is annoying on these shows because y'all speak to each other like that all the time.
Right.
And it feels like you just want to get out of being yelled at.
And I feel like we've seen Janet yell at people.
Yeah.
This season. And so like it feels unfair that she can do the yelling as a pregnant person, but she's like, you can't like look at me, talk to me, interact with me that way because I'm pregnant.
I think that's fair. And in those moments, like Jason should say to her, like, hey, your stress levels don't need to go up. Like, you need to stop screaming at people.
But also I feel like that's how Janet like functions. Like she's like, I hate when people talk shit. And then she's like, here's everything I know about every single person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
That they don't want you to know. And so I just feel like Janet grasps at straws for why like she
that's fair
can't handle it, but like she has no problem dishing it out. But so after that, like I think it was at like the opening of Jax's bar. So that's kind of where like I feel like the show is like closing out. Like that's the last event. But then we get to see a little more because Michelle and Jesse break up and they are getting a divorce. And we get to see them kind of like working out co-parenting. And then we see the same thing with Jax and Brittany. So Brittany says like that basically all the things we saw on the show kind of reached a fever pitch, and she's like, I deserve better, my son deserves better, this isn't working out, and she left. She like confronts Jax about saying that they moved back in together because she's like, no we didn't, and I look like a liar. And then she says that she thinks Jax needs therapy, but that she would bet money he wouldn't go. And it flashes to Jax and he's like, I did make an appointment but I didn't go because it was too far away. Which I think is like so funny because I feel like in the first few seasons of Vanderpump, we saw so many of Jax's therapy appointments that like it's funny to me that like now that he's actually like losing his marriage, he's like, it's too far. But he's like going to like he's bringing Laura Lee, is that her name?
Yeah.
To his therapy appointments in season 1. But so in light of all of that we got to see play out, Jax tweeted, because people have also been talking about him in Lori K publications, him in a model, like picturing him with other people, and he tweeted that we should be worried about who Brittany has been sleeping with for the past 4 months. And first of all, we want Brittany to be sleeping with someone else.
Yeah. We are worried about who she's sleeping with. We're just hoping it's not you.
Yeah, that's the goal for everyone.
Yeah.
But secondly, I don't know exactly like when in relation to that tweet, but he also posted on his Instagram story a picture of Cruz in their bed, like laying sideways, and he says like he always ends up like this, and like Brittany is clearly also sleeping in the bed.
Yeah.
And so people are like, it looks like maybe Brittany's sleeping
with Cruz
house. At your house with her family. Perhaps. I don't know. But and I think that like I think here's the thing. I've never been divorced and I've also never had a child. So I think that there can be some blurry lines when it comes to co-parenting, especially when you're not officially divorced yet. So like if Brittany's sleeping in their bed with their son at the house that they own, like that to me is not like, oh my God, they're back together.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that seems pretty normal to me.
I want to go backwards because now I'm thinking. I guess I should add that I can't stand Zack, so that's
I
part of
can't
it for me.
either.
But you are right that like I should take the full context into account that Janet is hypocritical in the way she does that. And I also think like I can't help but like have a visceral reaction when men scream at women.
Yeah.
And then you add to it that she's pregnant and it just feels icky like watching it. Like I'm just like, oh my God, like leave her alone.
Yeah.
But I do get that, like, honestly, I'm trying to think of like a man that I like. If James for some reason screamed at Lala like that right now, I'd probably be like, yeah, get her ass. So it's like I just don't have enough context to be that pissed at Janet yet, but
and I don't like Zack either. And here's my opinion on like Zack screaming at Janet is it made me think of like one time when I was in college, a like friend of mine, we were at a party and he like came up behind me and like grinded his crotch on me, and I was like, oh no thank you, and he was like, no, it's okay because I'm gay, like it means nothing. And I feel a little bit like Zack is like, I'm one of the gals. Yeah, I can scream at a woman and it's fine because I'm a girl's girl. Like, and that also bothers me. Like, I'm not happy with either of them. I don't like either of them.
Yeah. I think that's fair though, because even when he's like at the girls' night, they all kind of screamed at each other.
Yeah.
And I do think we've seen him like kind of get up when other men are screaming and say like, don't talk to her like that. And so I do think, and like in a way, like if that's the friend group he has and that's like the culture they have, then like that's fine.
Yeah. I think it just reads differently, and I don't know if it's like it reads differently for them or if it actually reads differently, but I think he thinks it does for him to scream at a woman than it does if like
Jesse
Luke was screaming at her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think that's
my
fair.
opinion.
Oh, and I wanted to end with a question. What the hell do you think the Valley could have done to get a reunion? Because like I feel like we had marriages in shambles, like all of this stuff. But did you see there's like a theory that like they apparently Nia like said that if they had a reunion, like her and Danny like wouldn't go. Like basically she like threatened them because she didn't want to talk about his alcohol, like his drinking. But, like that seems really like a reach to me. He drank one time excessively.
But her interviews on that night were like very like, I don't know.
Like she didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm honestly like surprised that they didn't even get like a
Watch What Happens Live reunion.
Right. Like I was gonna say like a Southern Hospitality-esque reunion where we're just in the clubhouse. Summer House Martha's Vineyard does reunions in the clubhouse, Winter House, all of those newer shows. But yeah, I'm like shocked because we had 2 marriages.
What more could they have given you?
Right. I don't know.
Speaking of reunions.
Yeah. Speaking of reunions, the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion was canceled because apparently they are unable to be in a room together. Which, as we've seen play out on Vanderpump Rules, Bravo doesn't typically love. So fans are now wondering if there will be a full revamp next season, like with Roni, where they just cut everyone from New Jersey and get all new people in. Which I do think is like plausible. Sure. Because I think especially people said like that's kind of how Roni ended, was they were like, we will not be around each other. End of story. So we'll see.
Yeah, Andy said that basically in the finale we will get a kind of like Godfather-esque like family at a dinner table like ending, and so he was like, you'll find that like a reunion isn't even like needed. I don't know that we'll find that, Andy, but okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Andy's working overtime, friends. Is everyone watching Love Island USA just so they can see our girl be the host? But also, you can see on Instagram that she is serving looks.
Yeah. I do
Billie
keep up
was
with
gagged.
her. Yes. I do keep up with her looks, and like I watched like the intro, but I told Sammy, I was like, there's truly like the fact that Ariana is hosting and I'm still like completely uninterested. There's truly nothing that could make me want to watch Love Island. It does not appeal to me. Shows like
Can people please in the comments here, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you are, can you please tell Mary why she should watch Love Island? And I know people don't love USA that much, so tell her why she should watch the original UK version.
there's something about like shows like Love Island and like Too Hot to Handle, and that other one where like with on Netflix where they bring all the people from all the Netflix dating shows.
Perfect Match.
Yeah, Perfect Match. Like I'm not interested.
Do you know anything about them?
No.
How do you know you're not interested?
Because I don't want to watch everyone naked all the time.
Oh, I see. Couple to throuple is fun.
All right. So moving on into the heavy hitters. Starting with Summer House, which maybe I shouldn't start with Summer House, but we will. Before we get into the reunion, I said there is a big time rumor, but there are lots of like rumors and just like behind the scenes stuff going on with Summer House that we need to address, and then we'll get into what happened in the reunion. So, biggest thing, the cast list of traitors came out and includes our girl Ciara, but allegedly she was a replacement for another Summer House gal. People are saying that Lindsay was originally cast, but producers found out that Lindsay was pregnant and removed her from the show for liability reasons, which people in Lindsay's camp are like somewhat pleased with. Her not being on the show, not the pregnancy rumors, but like her not being on the show if she's pregnant, because if she is pregnant and she were to reveal that she's pregnant, that would kind of mess things up for everyone hating Carl based on like
people wouldn't like feel bad for her anymore.
Like, yeah, so people wouldn't hate Carl as much because they're like, oh well, she moved right along and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so she has come out and said that she is not pregnant. She was at Andrea's wedding in Italy this weekend with everyone else, and she certainly doesn't look pregnant. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I do kind of feel like if she's going to come out and say, I am not pregnant, she's not going to in 2 weeks be like,
come
just
back
kidding.
Yes, I am.
But let me put on the record here that I said the exact same thing about Kyle and Mauricio.
Yeah.
So, my bad. But she went on a couple podcasts. Obviously, she talked a little on the reunion, but she had gone on a couple podcasts too, and she talked about her current man. And what I think is most interesting, just because it's like, can I figure him out? Is that she does say that he's a New York man. So everyone thought she was dating Dustin Lynch. Goodbye. Not an option anymore. And that he is 2 years younger than her. I wonder if he's not like if he's just a Joe Schmo. Yeah.
She says that they've been together since January and that they are pretty serious. At the reunion, she said that, and Carl
trending in a serious direction.
Yes, Carl said like, great, happy for her. And I also was like trying to figure out if I could see who it was. She said that it's someone that she like tried a relationship with. I think she said like 3.5 years ago specifically, but that the timing wasn't right then. But she also said that he does not watch the show
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that means we've also never seen him on the show.
Yeah. It's
So
Steven.
I was like Jason, Steven, that like Portuguese guy. I was just like guessing everyone. No. But that he's a great guy. He's caring, all of those great things. But pro Lindsay, Captain Lee has come out and announced that his friendship with Carl is over, and he gave us some insight into why, and it kind of like lends itself to who people are figuring out Carl to be, kind of like a manipulator and maybe a little bit of a liar. So Captain Lee says, quote, Carl and I used to be close. I gave Carl an opportunity to be on the podcast and tell it as he saw it. If there was a question he wanted taken off, we took it off. If there was something he didn't want to answer, we didn't want to put him on the spot. We didn't hang him out to dry. It was a softball interview if I've ever seen one. I would never have done something to put Carl on the spot. I got a phone call. He just went off. How I was trying to take advantage of him and put him on the spot. His publicist was there, as was mine. You were there. He's talking to his co-host. I was blown away. I don't know what made him go off the way he went off or why he thought what he was thinking. He ended up hanging up on me after accusing me of deceiving him. Mr. Radke, you were never deceived by me. I thought we had a very solid relationship considering our background together. No good deed goes unpunished. End quote. And the co-host of Captain Lee's podcast, I don't know who she is. Her name is Sam. But she backed him up because she was also there. And she said, quote, he was well aware of the conversation. It didn't paint Lindsay in a bad light, and it didn't paint him in a bad light. It actually was, I would say, complimentary in that time when it was a very sensitive time. It was almost like Jekyll and Hyde, end quote. So basically, they're like, we invited him on the podcast. We didn't talk shit about Lindsay, but we also didn't like throw him under the bus. We took out anything he didn't want to talk about. And then out of nowhere, he called and was like, you tricked me.
Yeah.
And now they're not friends, which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay also threw some shade at Carl for his goldfish ad and his new veneers, posting with a bag of Cheez-Its snapped and the caption, quote, currently crushing life as I soak up the start of summer, blissful and relaxed on my rooftop, snacking on the superior cheesy snack. Mm-hmm. Someone recently said being an influencer isn't a real career, even though we've seen them give it a try. But it seems to be working for me. Maybe because I'm a woman? While that other snack might make those people smile back, my all-natural 100% real smile shows just how deactivated I am in this moment. End quote.
It's incredible.
Like,
yeah.
People were like, oh, like her PR team deserves a raise. And they were like, no, she is PR.
Mm-hmm.
This is her job.
Yeah. I do feel a little irony when she says that being an influencer, yes, maybe it only works because I'm a woman. Okay, you're the one that didn't want him to just be an influencer.
Right.
You're what?
Right. And we'll
I'm
come
confused.
to that. That's the thing. Then the next day she posted about reunion part 1 and her caption just said, I don't have the energy to think of a creative caption. The last one took it all out of me.
Which is also incredible
even
PR.
Funnier. Yeah,
she said,
even funnier.
She said, scroll through my feed.
Yeah.
In case you missed it.
Look back.
If the algorithm fucked you the first time, go now.
She said none of it was accidental.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Exactly.
Last thing behind the scenes of Summer House, people are speculating that Kyle and Amanda are separated since he went to Andrea's wedding alone. And then other people are wondering if she's pregnant based on the reunion.
I don't know what that means, based on the reunion.
So people are saying that after watching reunion part 1, that they noticed Amanda holding her stomach a lot, and they said that she was glowing.
She said, I'm going to shit my pants.
Personally, I've noticed that Amanda does glazed donut makeup every fucking day. Mm-hmm. She's always kind of glowy. I don't think she's pregnant. But also don't think that they're separated. Somebody said that basically, like, Amanda couldn't make it They have another wedding in Italy over the summer, and she kind of had to choose one. So she'll be at the next one.
I appreciated Jesse saying, like, everyone in this room, no one in this room doubts that, like, y'all should be together.
Yeah.
And, like, it might be weird, but, like, y'all are it for each other.
Yeah.
I had one more rumor that I was just going to tack on to the end, but it feels like it could go right here.
Yeah.
So, people think Danielle might be secretly dating Carl?
Yeah.
Which, like, in my head, I'm like, no, because she's with Lindsay in Italy, like, they're being besties. But I guess if it's, like, a secret that, like, Lindsay doesn't know about, then, like, I guess. But, like,
and let's be real, man. Like, Danielle would not hesitate. No, I feel like she wouldn't hesitate for a fucking second to leave Lindsay in the dust so that she can fuck someone.
I don't think she has the balls to lie, though, to Lindsay. I don't think she can keep secrets from Lindsay. Like, I think it would, I don't know. You're right, though, but, like, the way she is with Lindsay, she's, like, I almost think, like, more scared than Carl. Like, she's, like, like, I just, like, can't, but maybe.
Last summer, I just, like, she didn't give two fucks about Lindsay.
See, I disagree that that's what happened last summer. Like, I think she really was just saying, like, hey, you think you're moving too fast? And Lindsay lost her fucking shit. And Danielle had no option but to be like, I guess we're done. Yeah. But she was so happy they were friends again. I don't know. I just feel like she cherishes her friendship with Lindsay so much. But, again, maybe that's why she would keep it such a huge secret. But you are right that, like, the one thing Danielle and Lindsay have in common is, like, they want a man. Like, bad.
Danielle will do anything to get laid.
Yeah.
Including fuck
good
her
for her, but not that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had seen, before I saw people actually speculating that they might be secretly together, I had seen people speculating that the reason Danielle and Lindsay did fall out last summer, and the reason Danielle had so much trouble, like, accepting Lindsay and Carl, was because Danielle was in love with Carl, and, like, she didn't want them to be together because she loved him, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And then now that's kind of transformed into, like, maybe she jumped at the chance.
God, could you fucking imagine, though? Because she sits with Lindsay in that scene after the breakup, and Lindsay says, I've loved this man for years, even when I wasn't with him, and I waited, and Danielle's like, oh. And can you imagine if we have a Raquel moment where we get to look back and we're all watching her and we realize she's actually thinking, like, me too.
Me too.
That's how I felt too. But things were getting. Well, she didn't leave him, I guess. But thank God for Carl leaving your ass, because now I'm gonna go get him.
That's crazy.
God.
So the reunion, in my opinion, two people came out of the summer house reunion looking not great. We're gonna start with West, since he was the main focus of part 1, and basically we learned that West is a fuckboy. So basically, they let us know that after the show wrapped, West and Ciara were, like, fully in a relationship. She met his parents. They went to a wedding together. Like, they were fully dating.
And apparently everyone was holding their breath just to find out if they fucked.
Right.
Rest assured, they did.
Yeah. Then shortly before the show aired, she said around, like, December, I think. Wes broke things off because he didn't want to be tied down as the show started, because the honeys were about to be rolling in. What's a guy to do? Like, come on, Ciara. Come on, Ciara. How can you expect
It's so funny. He says, though, like, I couldn't stay with her, because then if the show was airing and we were together, then I would just be Ciara's puppet. And it's, like, so proving to all of us that you didn't actually like her makes you seem less puppety. Like, I think if you had just stayed in a relationship, we would have been like, oh, that's real. And, like, cool.
And, like, also, let's be honest, I feel like the reason we loved West was because of his interactions with Ciara. Like, oh my God, they're so fucking cute.
I do think West stood on his own enough. Like, he was interesting. So it's like, I feel like you just, like, fucked yourself over in the end by all of us thinking, like, ooh, was that all for cameras?
Right. Ciara said she felt like he got what he had wanted from her all summer. he also admits that he lied about having sex with other people during the summer, that he was sleeping with other people. And then after him and Ciara started having sex, he dumped her so that he could experience being fangirled over.
Mm-hmm.
Paige ate him alive.
Mm-hmm. We don't.
No crumbs.
We live our real lives, and there is a camera. We don't live our real lives because there is a camera. Must go down in history.
Yeah, Paige was so fucking iconic. I mean, she always is, but like this reunion, the so they said, "Did you do?" She said, "Do I like attention? Yes, I'm on a fucking stage right now."
Yeah, and then when Danielle's like, "You think your confessionals are so fucking funny," and Paige was like, "They're hilarious."
They are, and like, and then saying like, "I don't understand how you don't want this woman. Like, she's everything. Like, and you're just Ken."
And I did think that was like one of the most like beautiful ways to defend your friend. She said, "I'm not going to pretend we don't all understand the allure of fame. We're on this show. What we can't understand is that this is your other option. Like this woman right here is your other option, and we all know the allure of her. And so like I just think it's like I don't know. And while it was like a little harsh, it made me like, nah, they are real friends. When Ciara was like crying, and then Paige said to her, like, he doesn't give a fuck about you. He cares what the audience thinks of him. And I was like, oh no, don't say that to her. But then I was like, no, say that to her.
Yeah. And I was going to say this later, but I feel like it fits right in here. And like somebody pointed this out, every single like man that Ciara has been with in her time on Bravo has done this same fucking thing to her. And like I just genuinely don't get it. I do not understand. Like she is everything. She's gorgeous, but she's also like
a nurse.
Like even in the reunion, she wasn't tearing him up.
She was gracious.
And and that's who Ciara is. She wouldn't. And we talked about this, that like she had every opportunity while the show was airing to be like, this man fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And she didn't take it. She didn't take it at the reunion. She tried her damnedest not to cry at the reunion over him. And like I just don't get it. Like Luke did it.
Yeah.
Austin did it. West has done it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, Andy asks if she would ever take him back, and she said that she does have feelings for him, and he kind of says like, "Oh yeah, me too." But that it would take a complete turnaround in behavior and like a lot of rebuilding of trust for her to take him back. And then they break, and Paige is like, he doesn't give a fuck about you. And I'm like, no, she's never taking him back. And like, I'm surprised that I feel the way I do, but I'm like, oh, she can like so clearly do better. Like he does not deserve the time of day. But Jesse Solomon and Kyle are thrilled at the possibility that she will take him back.
Even though Kyle was crying his little eyes out about how special sex is to her.
Yes. Like she said, I don't want to give myself to every person. He said, absolutely.
I'm like, Kyle.
Amanda looked at him like,
you had Amanda acting as a booty call for months because you wanted to be fucking other people. And now you're like,
and then you got in a relationship with her, and you
were still fucking other people. And he's sitting there going, "That's so beautiful, Ciara." Yeah. Like it's so weird. I love that he loves her. I do. Yeah. But like, buddy.
So crazy. Also, though, Andy was like the midriffs on these ladies, and I was like, I feel like Lindsay came out, and we were like, oh shit.
Revenge
dress. And then Ciara came out, and we were like,
what did West do?
Yeah, the revenge dress to end all revenge dress. Like, you would think that the woman who got dumped months before her wedding would be like the most scorned, and then Ciara comes out with a thong. up in her midriff, titties up.
Yeah. And Paige is like, okay, I want to compliment Ciara, but like she's the star.
Yeah.
I'll let her have that.
Yeah.
And then Danielle said,
And
I'll
then
do
they
them all
said,
a favor. I'll come in looking
Yeah.
like garbage.
They said, Gabby, they were like, okay, 3 women on this couch, tummies out.
Uh-huh.
Amanda was like, form fitting.
Mhm.
Gabby was like, side boobs on.
Yeah.
Danielle was like, let me
It's the
put
50s.
on the clunkiest dress I can possibly find
Yeah.
and make my hair and makeup look like shit.
Yeah. I liked Gabby's wet look.
Yeah.
It was good.
I thought Gabby looked good.
Mhm. So irrelevant.
The dress, her dress reminded me of the dress in What a Girl Wants when they give her that like ugly dress and she cuts it up.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But like with boobs out. So, anyway, part 2, the reunion, was all about Lindsay and Carl's breakup. And before we jump into it, I want to know if the reunion changed your opinion at all on the breakup, because I feel like it went so poorly for Lindsay. And I know that last time we talked, we were like, okay, Carl sucks. Team Lindsay.
I don't know. So I think that there are a lot of things that did not go well for Lindsay.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say that didn't look good for Lindsay, because like I think there are a lot of things that Lindsay said that she should not have said.
Right.
However, again, I don't know, man. My brain is never gonna, like, I think I'm jaded now. Like, I don't trust Bravo production. I don't trust Andy Cohen. I love Andy, but I don't trust that he doesn't have an agenda here. And we just saw what they tried so hard to do to Ariana, and I feel like maybe they're succeeding with Lindsay.
Yeah.
She makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't like entirely reverse my opinion. It does remind me that I've never liked Lindsay.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, oh, they're both villains. Like I just like ain't about either of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What did you think?
I think it kind of like reset my brain and being like how I kind of originally thought of it. Like Carl did not handle things the way he should have, but also like of course he didn't want to be with Lindsay.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
And the fact that she continues to say she was blindsided, I think is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
In retrospect, and I just feel like this kind of like cemented that like here's the thing, like it's one of those things that is like, if this is what she's saying to him in public about like his sobriety, like what does she say to him in private about it? That like, and like I don't know, like I think the other thing is like in Paige DeSorbo, I trust.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah,
that like when Paige is like, Carl, please stop beating yourself up. Like, Carl, please stop talking that way about yourself. And like Amanda and Ciara and Paige are all like, girl, you gotta stop. And even like some of the things Carl was saying, like Gabby was like,
yeah.
And like I was like, okay, if all of these women that I like wholeheartedly like would trust with my life are like on Carl's side and they actually know these people, then like maybe Lindsay really is as like bad as we kind of thought she was from the jump.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I was going to say is that like obviously the general point of part 2 is that Lindsay has spun a narrative and they want to kind of set the record straight that people wanted to come for Carl when it first happened, but now you've seen the whole season, you've seen the truth, and let's get to the truth right now. It was all Lindsay. And again, part of me is like, all right, Bravo, I'm going to need more evidence than that, because like you have been trying to get us against the women forever now. But that's the hard part, is that like, okay, fine. Kyle's on Carl's side, whatever. Okay, even Amanda's on Carl's side, fine. She's going to side with her husband, whatever. Then you got Ciara on Carl's side, and I'm like, oh. And then you got Paige on Carl's side, and I'm like, whoop. And then like Jesse and West are on Carl's side. And then yes, Danielle and Gabby are not, but I did think do they know they're on camera? Because they keep nodding at the wrong parts.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like
what?
They, to me, they presented as pretty neutral.
Yes.
Which
they shouldn't
they
have
shouldn't
been.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
If Lindsay's right in this, and
Right.
Lindsay was the one that was hurt,
they should hate him.
The only time Gabby speaks is to apologize on her behalf, not to say like you fucked her over. Like, and so it does feel like, okay, maybe I don't trust Andy, maybe I don't trust production, but if everyone in that room thinks it, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like, we literally watched Paige tell West, if you hurt my friend, I don't know you anymore, after he ended a 2-month-long relationship.
Yeah.
And these girls who are like Lindsay's ride or dies can't be like, hey, Carl, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I don't know. It's
sketch.
Yeah. I'm like fully like peace love Paige DeSorbo. Like,
oh yeah,
I love her.
That's my girl. Paige, if you write a book, it'll go right there. Although
episode title
might have to replace Lala.
Please. The episode title is Peace Love Paige DeSorbo. So
Peace,
Lindsay,
love, and cocaine, Carl.
Lindsay continues to blame the crumbling of her and Carl's relationship on Carl not having a job. And I'm not gonna lie, this cracked me the fuck up. Andy said, well, but technically, like, this is a job. He gets paid to be on this show. And somebody, like, said, like, how much, like, did they get paid? And Amanda was like, he gets paid the same as all of us. It's a fucking lot. And then Paige says, the difference between what Carl makes influencing and what Lindsay makes influencing is basically nothing, like $30,000. And my husband fell out.
Was this on the extended version? I didn't see that. Oh.
Because we didn't watch the extended version. She said like, so, and
that's just from the influencing, right?
Right.
So like, on the show, they make the same because they started the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was that on to Ariana or someone that Andy had recently said, like, okay, but I know you make, because she had said, like, I can't afford to leave my house.
Yeah.
And he said, like, no, I know you make a good bit of money on this show.
Right.
So it's like,
ugh. So then Andy asks Lindsay what her job is, and she says, first, this show.
And she says it like he's an idiot. Like it's this.
Hello.
Duh.
Secondly, she's an influencer. And Andy said, but those are the exact same as Carl's jobs. And this is when she's like, well, yes, but like Carl's had like one ad campaign and I have like continuous ad campaigns. And Carl's like, no, I have more than one. And she's like, but you're not making like nearly as much as I am from ad campaigns. Like for you, it's kind of like on the side, and for me, like, that's what I do is like ad campaigns. And then Paige says, but the difference between what you two are making from ad campaigns is basically nothing, like $30,000 difference. And my husband said, that's a whole salary.
Well,
that is someone's entire salary.
Yeah, but in 2024, it's less and less.
Yeah, but let me tell you, there's somewhere that is a certified teacher's entire salary. But so she says over and over again that she was blindsided, and that what hurt the most was that Carl had called production in to film them. And she even says, like, as my friend, you shouldn't have done that. So Andy says, like, I need to put a pin in this, because we're going to pause here, because like you've been saying this from day one, and that's just not true. And you've led like the entire world and the internet to believe in something that's not true, that Carl like forced production to film this breakup. And he says, like, because you've been saying this, I actually asked production if Carl called them and told them he was breaking up with you, and they said neither of those things happened. That one, it was their idea to keep filming because of the fight Carl and Lindsay had on the way to Montauk. They were like, we should pick this up and kind of see where it goes. And that when he agreed to that, he did not tell them he was breaking up with Lindsay. They did not know that was going to happen. Carl, like,
And Carl says he didn't know it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
He says, like, I wasn't planning on breaking up with her. He doesn't really, like, chime in with Andy and be like, yeah, that's right, they called me. But then he says, like, basically that he has been, like, beating himself up over how everything went down, that he feels like he was so wrong for how he handled it, and that he's, like, relieved at this reunion because he thought that Lindsay was going to chew him up and spit him out. And she said, I'm not done.
She said, wait, I have been nice to you? That is certainly not what I intended.
Right. And he's like...
And Jesse said, was this nice?
He was like, I just didn't feel like she wasn't yelling at me. But then he says, like, but now you're kind of, like, thanking me. And she said, no, let's be clear, I'm thanking the universe. But basically he's, like, relieved that Lindsay agrees that they shouldn't have gotten married and that she is happy with someone else and that, like, she knows it was the right choice, but that, like, he's like, I refuse to date anyone else ever again. I'm trash. I'm scum. I am bottom of the totem pole. Please, someone kill me. Like, I don't deserve to be here. And they're like, Carl, are you okay?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just, like, not sold on that. So, like, I don't know. It's not like Andy like tries to, like, separate himself from production. Like, I went and asked production.
Right.
Like, nah, dude. Like, fuck off. Y'all got the same, like, goal in mind and, like, whatever. I also, like, these people talk to their producers all the time.
They're friends.
Like, they are their friends.
Yeah.
Like, I will not try to steal this because Morgan P. Talks already said it on Instagram. But, like, we just watched Katie and Lala talk about how they had this entire 3-way call where they're, like, screaming at Jeremiah and, like, bouncing off of each other, like, ideas and just, like, talking. And it's crazy to think that Carl called them and just said, meh, I'm annoyed. She broke glass. Meh, I've been sleeping in the guest room. And just basically, like, vented. And then they said, like, sounds like we should come film. And, like, I understand that, like, they technically make the choice, production makes the choice, but, like, filming was done. So it's like, to me, there has to have been some reason that they said, like, no, filming's not done. And, like, I don't know. I just don't, I'm not sold. I'm not sold that, like, I don't know. I also, like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
What was it that Amanda said when they were all at, was it Danielle's apartment?
Yeah.
And she said, like, I don't remember, but when she's talking about Kyle meeting with Carl, I can't remember if she said Carl called Kyle and asked him to come,
when they called him to film.
Yeah, or if it was production. So, like,
but it's, like, not crazy that it could have been either, right? Like, production could have told Carl, we're going to pick back up. Do you want to invite Kyle to lunch? Or production could have called Kyle and said, we're just going to do a kind of wrap up thing. Like, do you want to get lunch with Carl? Like, I don't know that, like, I don't know.
And I like, not that I'm like, oh no, Andy Cohen would never lie to us.
Yeah.
But, like, I can also see it being a very real possibility that they were like, that was nuts. Like, she refused to even ride in the car with him. And, like, and maybe he was, like, talking to one of his friends in production, ranting about things. And they were like, should we come film this?
Sure.
Like, do you think something's going to happen? Like, do you want this resolved on camera? That way it doesn't end with the Montauk thing. I think it could have gone down.
I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle.
Right.
I don't think that production had no fucking clue.
Right. But in some way, shape, or form, Carl and production agreed to film this, and they knew it was not going to be a good conversation.
Yeah.
But also,
what?
I was gonna say, like, kind of after I watched it, watching Lindsay's response to it, like, Andy said it, and she was like, he was like, so it's kind of like crazy that you're saying you're blindsided, and she was like she kind of paused and like kind of took in what he was saying. Was like, okay, wait, maybe he didn't call them, but like I was blindsided because I didn't know I was getting broken up with, and I was blindsided because he had decided, and I wasn't a part of it. But part of me wondered if Andy was being so icy to her so that she won't come back.
Maybe.
Because then, and then at the end when he's like, do we think everyone will be in the house next summer? Like, I'm wondering if like between the two of them, they would rather keep Carl.
Well, I mean, everyone else in the
on
house
the
would
cast,
rather,
right?
yeah.
And so they're like trying to like make Lindsay not want to come back.
Yeah. I also just thought it was like a little slimy that Andy said to her, okay, Lindsay, so you got engaged on camera. So like, wouldn't it make sense that your relationship might end on camera? And like, to me, that goes against everything you just said, which is that no one knew they were filming a breakup. Carl didn't know it was going to be a breakup. Production didn't know it was going to be a breakup. So now you're saying to her, like, come on, we just wanted to catch your breakup on camera because we owed it to the fans because they saw your engagement. Like,
they weren't even going to get married on camera.
But you just said that this was just a conversation, that this was just an ending the season conversation. So like, I don't really understand. And like, fuck off. We all know that's not the same thing, that like people would much rather get engaged on camera than have their fucking fiance call their wedding off 2 months before. Like, don't be stupid. But I'm like, I just like don't understand. And then I don't know. I just thought that was like gross, first of all, to say like basically you signed up for this so you deal with it.
Yeah.
But I also was just like, I feel like you just admitted that you're lying because like you said it wasn't a breakup. So what you should be saying to her is like, Lindsay, you filmed your entire life on this show for the past however many years. We thought we could get one conversation out of you.
Why are you surprised we wanted to film this conversation?
We didn't know it was gonna be a breakup. We thought like, you've seen us film stuff, whatever, but it's like, then Morgan P. Talks had also said, like, when have we seen cameras getting picked up recently? Scandal, Kyle and Mo, Jackson, Brittany break up, and Jesse and Michelle. So it's like, what? You had no clue? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Kyle, okay, this is where we'll get into I still think Lindsay did some things wrong. Okay?
Yes.
I don't know that I'm buying the production
it's not
thing.
An opinion.
But Lindsay, not great. But Kyle is right that we don't ever seem to get an I'm sorry from Lindsay without a but. And that's especially difficult when she's trying to apologize for questioning Carl's sobriety and for calling him Cocaine Carl on national television. But she says, like, I'm sorry and I do apologize. But what I don't apologize for.
And the only time when we get like an apology with a period is through Gabby.
Gabby says, like, she said she was sorry.
She's sorry. Moving on.
Yeah. I'm like, oh,
which is the only time Gabby spoke in that entire fucking reunion.
Yeah. Maybe, I guess if Lindsay goes, maybe Gabby and Danielle will go too, because
please.
Bye.
Not if Danielle's dating Carl.
Oh man. In the extended version, Lindsay told everyone that, she would just like some clarification on what sobriety means to Carl.
No, she doesn't.
Because he still smokes weed. So is, if weed's just not included, that's fine. I just want to know. And in fact, the reason I want to know is because just weeks before we started filming, Carl was high on mushrooms. And man, Gabby said, no, you did not just say that. And Carl was like, okay, there, all right, there it is.
Yeah. This is why we're not married.
Yeah. And she says basically that like he was always questioning her drinking, how much have you had to drink? And so this is why she says this. I do have a lot of thoughts.
She's not an alcoholic, though.
Yes. So I do have a lot of thoughts. I just wish that Lindsay had the ability to understand nuance at all.
Here's the thing. She doesn't just wonder what
Right.
sobriety means. She wants everyone to know that she was right, that Carl isn't as sober as everyone thinks he is,
Sure.
that he still does these things that are not considered sober, and that it's crazy that she is villainized for drinking too much, but nobody knows that Carl still does some kinds of drugs. Like,
Yeah.
no, you don't want clarification. You just want to throw him under the bus. And like for the one thing that he has like begged you not to talk about,
Yeah.
so shitty.
I actually do understand part of where she's coming from. I understand that if someone
Mm-hmm.
says, I don't mind that you drink, I'm sober, but you don't need to be sober, and I'm fine with that. Please feel free, have fun, partake. But then they keep asking you, how much have you had to drink? How much have you had to drink? How much have you had to drink? I understand that that is annoying. And I understand that at like a very surface level, she's just kind of saying like, okay, fine, but Carl, you're not without your vices. They're just different vices. I might still be drinking, but you're smoking weed, but like we're both doing things that are like that work for us and that like are substances and that like alter us in some way. So like I feel like she thinks like she's just evening the playing field. She's just saying like weed to you is alcohol is to me. Like we're just kind of the same but using different things. I also need, though, this is where I need nuance. I need Lindsay to understand that her partner is sober from certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every sober person in the world, anyone who says they're sober, is sober from certain things. There are people who are sober from anything, but I guarantee 99% of the sober people in the world, they have caffeine, they have like medications, they have like things that like affect them. And a lot of people are sober from drugs, but they enjoy a beer or two. And a lot of people, James Kennedy, are California sober. And like, I need her to just understand that. And I need her to just know Carl enough to know that. And I need her to trust and allow us to trust that Carl will know when he has lapsed in his sobriety. He will know which substances feel like, oh, that's too close to like what I
Yeah.
used to do, or that is what I used to do. I also need her to understand that just because Carl says on TV, like Lindsay's drunk, telling the world that he used mushrooms is just a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
than saying that he smoked a little weed or than him saying that you had a drink. Because mushrooms are illegal in most places, maybe not New York, but in most places. And people are probably going to judge Carl for that. And
Mm-hmm.
the least you could have done is just shut the fuck up and
Yeah.
just not say that. I also think it's especially sad considering that, as Carl at least says, that as soon as they did it, they both said, we shouldn't have done that and we'll
She
never
agrees with
use.
him. She
And
said, yes, we
yeah,
did.
yeah. But so, like, you're saying that, like, y'all had that conversation in private where you
Right.
said, I regret this. We tried it. We tried it in the safety of each other. We're not about it anymore. Cool. Now he's basically claimed sobriety from mushrooms. He is not going to do that again. Don't go on TV and say it.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
That's shitty. I hope it's
Ugh.
shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just um yeah, I think I was already kind of like, oh, this is not, that's like when we're like, oh, that's not, and then I saw that clip and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like she learned nothing.
Yeah.
It feels.
Everything is so black and white for her. It is
Yes.
really like blank equals blank and blank equals blank. And
Yes.
so I can call these things out because that's the same as this. And it's like,
Is Lindsay
I
autistic?
I need you to just know that like you love this person and
Yeah.
he's going through some stuff and you know which things are hard for him. So just like live in the gray with Carl.
Yeah.
And Lindsay can't do that.
And it seems like maybe now we can see that she kind of loved the idea of him.
Yes.
And not loved him, because if you truly loved him, you would not be doing these things. I also think that, not to like limit him, but I think that Carl really does need like a sober partner.
I do too.
Because I just think that,
or at least someone who is like very kind when they're drunk.
Right.
And that's like, not Lindsay.
I think that it would be triggering.
It doesn't seem like
it unfold.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like watching people drink alcohol is triggering for him. Yeah. Like he's like, oh, I want that. But having to like handle the poor behavior of someone who is intoxicated, I think is like not going to work for him.
Right.
Needs a stoner girl.
Summer house. But moving on, last thing we've got is Taylor Swift.
The Vanderpump treatment.
Congratulations, Summer House.
Good job, guys. You made it.
Summer House is my fave.
So, Taylor.
Yeah. Taylor Swift has been wearing a lot of black at her recent Eras Tour shows, which we now know means nothing. Including,
hey, I'm still out for the 21st.
She's wearing a pair of black gloves during the Tortured Poets department that we've never seen before. Although fans in Edinburgh show that night said it was really cold, and since then, if I see one more fucking picture of this woman's snot, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
And she did wear white gloves the other night too, so I think it is just very cold.
We get it. It was cold. Her nose was runny. Like people are like, I saw something like fans repulsed by what Taylor Swift did.
No,
like, first of all, nobody asked you to capture a fucking video of her snot hanging off of her hand. That's on you, friend. And then they were like, well, she like did like this when they were snotting her. Get a fucking grip.
You don't want her to touch you with her hand. What the fuck do you want from her?
Like, I can't. But yeah, so apparently it was cold. Whatever.
Yeah, there are these cute clips of her, like, when Cam does his, like, nice, she was like, and then when she had to give up the lavender haze coat, she literally looked at the dancer and said, I want to keep it. So gold.
Yeah. We also got to see, she performed Crazier for, like, the first time, I think, ever. And at that moment, fans' wristbands turned green, leading some people to believe that Crazier will be on debut Taylor's version, which I hope so. I also hope that, like, From the Vault we'll get I Heart ? And Beautiful Eyes. I'm hoping.
I have wondered about debut TV, and like, not that she couldn't have things on the writing floor that early, but it's like when you put out your like first, like, you may not have that much, and she may have put out everything she had. So I do think, like, considering that like a lot of these like singles and like niche things she did could be vault tracks, because someone, like, people were saying like Sweeter Than Fiction, and then something on Fearless, and then like Ronan, and like other things that were not written for the albums but were like released in the time, or like from the time period she's been including. So I do think that
Today
probably
was a fairy
is true.
tale.
Yes, but do Crazier and All the Girls You Loved Before was wild. Everyone was like, Travis, get on a plane now.
Yeah. And like people are like loving, but also like, oh my god, this is crazy with her recent surprise song mashups. So we got Crazier and To All the Girls You've Loved Before, and then the Tortured Poets department, and Now That We Don't Talk. And
bye, Matty Healy. Bye.
And Dorothea, and It's Nice to Have a Friend.
Hello, Selena.
Crazy to me, but like cute.
Because Dorothea's about Selena, and Selena's her friend.
She's giving everyone a shout out. So,
a source close to a rodent.
Yeah, we're back to rodent boyfriends. Finally, someone says that Matty Healy has released his first substantial statement about the Tortured Poets department.
And other than like, I wish he hadn't.
Other than like the day it came out and he said like, "Oh, I haven't listened to it, but I'm sure it's great."
Mm-hmm.
And then he listened to it and he said, "What the fuck?" So now he's saying that first of all, thank fucking God for the attention he's gotten. But that he thinks this album is so silly because he never considered Taylor to be a serious girlfriend of his, which is like the biggest fumble of all time.
And also literally the point.
Right. Like she's like, no, like we were in love for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
and then you ghosted me.
Yeah.
Like
The
I
whole
must
point
be fucking crazy.
The whole point is that she knows you did not think it was serious.
Right. She's like, I must have lost my fucking mind
Yeah.
if I thought this was worth my time.
I was gonna marry you.
But Matty Healy said, you know what? If I wanted to, I would. Because he's now engaged to someone that I didn't even fucking know he was dating. And do you know what she has at her house?
What?
A pet rat.
Yeah. She reminds me.
Wait, pause. Now she has 2 pet rats.
True. Because I don't know if this is like
Mean.
rude. She reminds me of Kanye West's girl.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree.
Okay, cool.
I don't think that comment is inherently rude. I think they look alike. If you want to read into
the
that,
makeup.
Yeah, if you want to read into that, feel fucking free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Men who hate Taylor Swift love women who look like that, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. And just, I don't know. If she starts dressing like her, watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Mary alluded to, at the 100th show of the Eras Tour, which fell on the 13th of the month, we got a whole heaping pile of nothing.
Yeah.
That people were really holding their breaths for. What we did get is Taylor telling us that the tour really will end in December. Gee fucking thanks.
Fine.
Rude. I kind of thought we could do this forever. I did see a theory today that like people wonder, I mean there's not really like any backing, but they wonder if she will get her Taylor's versions out before December, and then December will literally like finish the eras.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I don't know if that means she's like done or if she'll like start a new phase of her life. I don't know, because it's like whatever's next is still going to be an era.
Yeah. Everything is eras now.
Everything.
That's it.
Well, that's it. If you don't watch Summer House, sorry.
Yeah, I'm really sorry because you should.
Yeah.
You're missing out.
Mm-hmm. And now you can go get all the extended cuts.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.